It's me, your Caribbean weather dude, with all your updates on BC weather and Western Canada. For that, I'm Joey Only, right here in Wells, BC, 3,935 feet above sea level, and this is the Bad News Show Weather Edition. More weather than ideas today. Okay, let's go. There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later. Ain't dry mopping this. It's unbelievable to me that honesty means nothing these days to people. Like, it means absolutely nothing. To me, relationships, democracy, things like that require truth. Truth is the food of such things, you know? And I'm telling you all, there's a big snowstorm coming this weekend. I got this person in my life. He's like, well, what do you want about this weekend? I was like, actually, I don't want to do this weekend. I tell them. And they say, well, seeing as you didn't respond, how can you say that when you're replying to my answer? Holy fuck, like, people are so out to lunch. So anyways, here's this guy. Check this out. This is fun from yesterday. A lot of the negative comments I get come from this. They mirror this. So you saw my forecast yesterday. Major snowstorm brings Arctic misery to Western Canada. And he's like, I don't know where he gets this from. Didn't call it a Chinook last week with a question mark. I don't think this guy understands what a Chinook is, what the weather phenomenon is, how it happens, why it happens, what it involves. Okay, typical alarmist climate science word manipulation. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't say anything about climate change yesterday. I talked about some high records and said they were very, maybe I painted the picture that you can piece together. But no, really, I wasn't. That wasn't a climate change episode yesterday. But anyways, it's always this kind of guy, Mr. Anvil. There you go. No followers, no subscribers, no videos, nothing about this channel. It's always this kind of guy who's got something to say. But they do. They just put words in your mouth, right? It's like I was watching Bill Mayer there. He's such a friggin' sellout. And he's going on about how the Democrats lost the election because to them, it was more important to talk about transgendered issues than it was to talk about politics. Kamala never mentioned transgendered people once in her campaign. She didn't fucking mention it once. But you're sitting there, oh, it's the left's fault. This guy's tearing down democracy, threatening countries around them, putting the world into a major unstable situation. But all you can say is, well, the left lost because they can't stop talking about transgendered people. Like, where the fuck are you getting this shit? It's gaslighting. That's what it is. It's like people just tell you that reality is different than it is, and you have to respond to their lies. And when you respond to their lies, what you're doing is you're wasting time just dealing in facts and reality and things that are measurable and provable and this and that. So, I mean, I have that in my own life with people who try this manipulative shit. It's in politics. It's on the internet. It's guys like Anvil One, who basically is embracing his role as a Russian bot. Anyways, weather in Canada. You don't have to be a Russian bot in order to embrace your role as one. Okay, so new snowfall warnings for Highway 16. We were alluding to yesterday, quite possible. Let's have a look at what's going on there today. Snowfall warning, 10 to 20 centimeters expected there until midday Thursday for that McGregor, including Highway 16. Snow will begin in the morning today. As the weather system approaches eastern British Columbia, low is moving its way across. It's just a weak low, but it will make that nice swath, which may hit a little bit of Prince George today. You may get a little bit of messy roads still. The precipitation will be enhanced as the low pressure center arrives. Snow will ease by midday as it departs into Alberta and begins to form its own little clipper up there. Down towards McBride, 10 to 15 centimeters, so just a little bit less snow. Okay, mostly through the overnight into the evening hours. And up for Muncho Lake, Stone Mountain Park, you could be seeing 10 centimeters up there, so that snowfall hitting into there. The snowfall warnings have now subsided for these areas like Stewart areas north of Terrace. Meanwhile, in the north end of Manitoba, that extreme cold warning saying minus 45 is still in effect for there, as well as northern Ontario looking at minus 45. Lots of snowfall and snow squall warnings as this low is coming down here, and it's picking up moisture across these Great Lakes and depositing it in the form of snow, 15 to 25 centimeters there, 70-kilometer-hour winds. Still very, very cold in Quebec, even up along the St. Lawrence River, hitting to minus 41, up into Gaspé Z, minus 41 wind chill values. Not temperatures you're used to seeing there along that side of that area of the St. Lawrence River. Generally, as you get into Atlantic Canada, although not quite as pronounced as BC, which has a very Pacific flow, you'll find that Eastern Canada still has generally more moderate temperatures in the winter, especially along coastal areas. So minus 48 wind chills, minus 41 wind chills down through Gaspésie. That's quite unusual for them. 110 kilometer an hour maximum gusts up there in northern Newfoundland Island, as well as snow squall watches along the west coast for Green Bay, White Bay, Deer Lake, Humber Valley. Wind warnings up along the Labrador coast, and still that special weather statement in for much of Nova Scotia, where you could be seeing Thursday morning a little bit of snow persisting over the Cape Breton Highlands. Especially could see total of 20 centimeters over the next 24 to 36 hours, it says. Of course, that's already begun. So it was updated at 10:55 a.m., actually, Atlantic Standard Time. So Manitoba setting some warm weather records yesterday, even Swan River getting up to 5 degrees. They've been keeping records there since 1960. Even Winnipeg just nudging above its old record, a daily high for January. The 28th yesterday it was. It's the 29th today. Other than that, Ontario seeing some major wind from that Alberta Clipper coming on through there. Point Peter, St. Catharines seeing some of the highest. Birthplace of mine, Trenton, Ontario, 98 kilometers an hour. Western Island, Cobourg, some of those areas along Lake Ontario, such as Hamilton and Kingston. And even Brockville up to St. Lawrence, seeing some strong winds. So just giving you an idea at how blasting some of those winds actually were for the people there. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan still setting warm temperature records. But the Yukon and Northwest Territories have finally stopped breaking daily records. So that's something at least. Having a little look here at Polar WX just to see kind of the big picture, how that's going to go through. So that low that's here today, what you just saw went through, made a small low through the prairies, and made a little bit of snow through there. Doesn't seem to make it all its way east as an organized low, so it kind of dies off in the prairies and waits for the next round. We got the next round already on tap, though, on Friday, bringing big-time precipitation to the west coast. Bam! So this GFS modeling seems to think there's a bit of a gap, but, still everyone gets a little bit of snow as that moves on through. Now you can see that cold develop in behind it. See very, very cold temperatures come into BC as we come into next week, as we've been talking about 1048, 1050 highs, maybe even possible extremely high pressure weather. Today on Wednesday, seeing that low trying to make its way through into Alberta, and of course that's tailing in behind it, that snow that we think will probably visit Highway 16 corridor, most especially into Thursday morning. That west coast of BC still seeing rain at the water level and snow in the mountains for Thursday morning as we wait for the next storm to come in. This little bit of a fire hose will start working its way on down, bringing some snow to the Island Mountains. And boom, here comes the next low in time for the weekend. Now we're seeing some big time precipitation. It looks like the Coast Mountains are really going to take that hammering on Friday, into Saturday morning, right? You're going to find a good 24 hours where things are really especially bad. So there you go on Saturday morning. Cannot rely on the mountain passes, cannot rely on traveling through BC. You may find gaps in the weather. You may find gaps in the interior where it's not coming down all that much, but we're looking at pretty widespread, pretty serious, pretty significant lasting round of snow here in BC before that cold weather comes in. We've been looking at how bad that cold weather will be. I don't like it. Look at that. 1053 high, it's saying on this modeling. That is extremely high pressure there at the Yukon-BC border. Very cold. And you can really see how this Pacific flow, this angle of jet stream here, you can watch how it's coming right through the middle of Alberta into southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba. That was up to the north, and that's why they are getting those temperature records up there through much of the week. That's, making its way on down. But as you can see, heavy increasing cloudiness into the McBride area, into the Highway 16 corridor today. And our low off the coast is becoming a little more organized than, maybe modeling had shown us. Oh, let's be serious. 990 is not an extremely powerful low, but look at how those clouds have been kind of sitting there in the BC interior this morning. Look how that low is just spinning there off the coast, looking pretty well developed. You can really see how the cold air is making its way in behind it. You can see how that warm and wet slot is feeding into it, so you have that dry sector in behind. and the cold feeding this mid-latitude cyclone. This is not climate change alarmist speak. No, this is not a bomb cyclone. Does not meet that criteria. No, this is just a regular mid-latitude cyclone out in the Pacific. Nothing exactly special about it. However, it's going to be a weather maker for us, and it's going to help deliver significant snow into BC. Very, very thunderstormy in South America today. Very thunderstormy there. Welcome to that weather. There's our strong cyclone there in the north part of Quebec, moving into Labrador, bringing some of those strong winds. You can see along those tight isobars where those winds are been very, very strong, delivering some of that really, really intense wind to them. And you can see how our low in Ontario is now finding its way to the east coast, making its way on through, still dragging some snow, though, across as it does. This is the Alberta Clipper that has been their weather maker for a number of days. It's about 10:42 as a matter of fact, but this good starting place. Have a look into BC today. We're going to abandon those other storms. If you live in other parts of Canada, try to find your local forecast, or become a channel member and tell me you need. I'm very partial to forecasting for channel members if they ask specific things, right? So if you leave a super and I have a weather question, you can guarantee an answer. I'll tell you that, right? So low making its way this evening into Alberta. That will bring your snow across. We've kind of been looking at this. It hasn't changed much the last few days. It really seems to mirror what we've been kind of more or less seeing. We see how overnight into Thursday morning, snow fairly heavy down that 16 corridor, a little bit into the Caribou out towards the Kenny Dam and places like that. Caribou Mountain's going to take a bit of the snow, so we're looking forward to that here in Wells. Watching how in time for your morning commutes, Quesnel probably going to see a little bit of that. I would most likely think for you. And if we just click onto this and look at temperatures, you will be cold enough during the morning time. You should be seeing some snow. Things a little bit warmer today as the weather's changing. As we had that, as this arc that we were pointing at earlier has come across for us, it's really helped change the story for us weather-wise. So now we have two lows trying to work themselves together here up on the coast. They do join up. There they go. This one's going to help feed the other one, and it's getting particularly organized now for Thursday night. So we're seeing earlier and earlier in the modeling, this seems to be coming. So now it's not just, at one time it seemed to me like, well, I bet you by Friday evening, for sure it'll be all completely honest. But now it looks like overnight into Friday morning, we're going to start seeing the lion's share of that. So Friday is going to be a pretty messy day, no matter which way you look at it. In parts of the interior, maybe you're going to have, we might see some snowfall warnings and statements and things like that in the coming days now. So pay attention to Environment Canada. I'll try to keep you updated here as I can on that. But there you go. Nice low pressure system. Bringing snow, fairly wide swath. There's this gap here in the Caribou that may not see very much at times. But all in all, we're seeing, a province-wide event for snow as this low tries to make its way on through. You can kind of see how they're trying. It's trying to track its way in. It's trying to make its way into Alberta. It's trying to force its way completely over. It's taking its time. So it's like hopscotch. Part of it's jumping over and leaving part of itself. It's multiplying. It's not able to fully make its way over. This instability on the coast is not able to resolve itself. There's cold enough air. There's enough moisture. There's enough juice to make a storm pissed off. We got that atmospheric river down there in Southern California, the next storm after that. I would really like to see these storms maintain a course into BC and not see the high pressure establish itself for too long next week. But, it's really a for sure thing that we're going to go through a period of cold after this storm works its way on through. Saturday afternoon, still snowing heavy in a lot of places, up through the Coast Mountains. If you got plans to go through any of these highway passes on Highway 3, the Coquihalla, you got plans to go over the Revelstoke Pass. I know they're expecting some pretty good snowfall totals in Revelstoke, for example. You got travel plans. This isn't the weekend for it in BC. It's just clearly not. And by the time you get to Sunday in morning, you're going to have that new Clipper there in Manitoba. It's not going to be good driving there either. That looks like it's going to be fairly windy. You're going to have, and of course, you can see how these isobars are showing you how it's pulling air from the north to feed it. Unfortunately, in order to feed it and pull that cold air, it's yanking as much of it as it can on down. You can see already now by the time we're at Sunday, There you go, Sunday evening. Look how cold we're at. Look how cold we're at. So this is all things we said yesterday. We're just corroborating mostly that we're not seeing a real change in the forecast. Sunday morning looking cold for the people in the north. Sunday, yep, overnight. Even Saturday in the morning, yeah. So this cold's going to come a little quicker than even we thought. You know, in a matter of 12 hours quicker, something like that. And yes, weird fucking anvil guy, this here does count as a Chinook. There's a little bit of a Chinook going on. That's what happens. Is you have this low pressure system, it's coming on over. So one thing a low pressure is doing is pulling air from the south, first of all, right? Another thing that happens, though, is you have this descending air over the mountains. So this low pressure is now pulling air over the mountain ranges, and as that air sinks coming over the mountain ranges because of the orographic lift of the mountains, what it tends to do then is warm. So it warms itself up as it descends. And that's, you know, these are two things that work together to help make Chinook conditions, to help make things sometimes very, very warm. We get this in BC sometimes, but Alberta gets this more frequently in the Rockies, especially southern Alberta. And, you know, I've been in Alberta when I lived there, and it was like +3 in Nanton, and it was 0 in Calgary, and then it was like -15 in Red Deer, and it was -24 in Edmonton or something like that, right? Like it was like really pronounced how we were getting the benefit of the Chinook in the southern Alberta, and the north was getting absolutely none. And to me, that image of that time is how I'll always view Chinook weather in Alberta. It's like the mental picture with which, I first really experienced it and said, wow, being in Alberta in January and it being 15 degrees and then in southern Alberta and then going down to -38, 39 at night, plus the wind chills were absolutely ridiculous. So Chinook conditions, yes, weird anvil fucking guy. It's not global warming hysteria speak. It's just a weather fucking term that's existed for a long time. It's a common behavior of winter weather in southern Alberta. Now, when you have northern Alberta breaking temperature records, that's unusual. This last weekend, we saw Chinook conditions in Fort Nelson. That's not a place that you normally see Chinook conditions. So it was a very, very unusual thing. Very unusual thing. And if you want to talk about, why, we can talk about why, but nothing I say you're going to listen to. So, just get lost, troll. If you don't want to learn about weather, you don't want to know what's going on, you don't want to know when to have an umbrella, when to have your snow shovel ready, when to have extra wood in the house, that's up to you, man. You can see that descending cold air. Look how it's finding its way down the Fraser River. That's a nice delivery mechanism down those low valleys. Cold air likes to stick to the bottoms, right? So what I'm hoping to see is an inversion here in Wells. Doesn't want to indicate that, but these ECMWF, these long-range forecast models don't account for terrain very well. Meteorologist Mark Ingalls was talking about that in our group chat yesterday for the podcast. He was saying how, you want to use the HRR and things like that that give you a better look at terrain. So we could do that quickly if you want, just to see if there's a change. But the problem is the HRR is a short range modeling. So there you go. It's not even looking at Canada today. So here's the HRDPS. This is Canadian model, but again, we only have till Friday. So these are really these are much more accurate and defined modeling that will give you much more, like you can really see your temperatures in the mountaintops will be a little warmer. And again, this isn't significant warm, but it's -16. Well, you compare that to 24, 25 in these lower areas in the foothills and whatnot as you come out to Fort Nelson. So different modeling is good at doing different things. That's more or less the gist of what I'm trying to get at today, right? So this modeling is very good for the long range. ECMWF is really good about how things are moving, where they're going to move. I find ECMWF is a very reliable model. I've come to rely on it more than the GFS. We look at both, generally not in the same site. I don't generally switch between ECMWF and GFS too much when we're doing our forecast videos here. But when we looked at some of the things we were looking at earlier, like on Polar WX, that was a GFS modeling. And we can go here and see GFS modeling. And again, it very much mirrors ECMWF on the short range. It's not generally till you're like 72 hours you start to see the models diverge because they're all getting the same data, whatnot. Saturday morning, that cold moving on in behind this low, ushering it in. Well, Southern Alberta's getting that nice little Chinook there. That crazy fucking anvil asshole doesn't think is a real thing. He thinks that's me trying to make hysteria or some climate change. It's just like people who don't know anything and just repeat shit because they think it's smart. And they replace actual knowledge with catchphrases that don't actually mean anything or have any relevance. And, just trying to poke at you. It's like, well, he really showed me, didn't he? He really showed me. And what'll happen is if you watch this video and then you start commenting, guy, I'm probably just going to block you from being able to talk on my channel because I really don't fucking care what you think. You have nothing, here's a sign that you have nothing good to show the world or share with the world. Your YouTube channel has nothing. No one cares about you. You have no videos, no followers. Grand Prairie minus 32 early Sunday evening, up to 30, down to 34, hitting 34. These are cold. I don't like it. Monday morning. Oh, there's the 31 for Prince George, 30 for Williams Lake. We're going to see some 30s. McBride, yep, 34. That's still on the board. That's not changing. 36, 37 for Hinton for a little bit there. Oh, man, that is so brutally, stupidly cold. How long is this shit going to stay around for? That's really the big question as you start looking out over the days ahead. How warm does it get during the day? Not very. I go to nighttime, looking at 26s, 27s. The new low down here on next week, Wednesday. Please, low, change this modeling around. Change this. Come in here, slam in here. Oh, come on. So far, nothing in the modeling really in the long run showing until maybe next week, Friday. I think we're going to see some changes. I think this ocean flow is very warm. I think storms will probably get stronger because of the cold and slam in here. I think we'll see changes in the forecast modeling over the next week. So let's not get too freaked out. But it could be that we spend an entire week in the cold. Yeah, that's possible, especially if you're in northern BC. Looking at GFS, it thinks the high just establishes itself right in through Friday. So, I don't buy this. GFS has it lasting longer. If that's the case, we'll be much lower on precip. We need the precip, so I don't want that. I don't want this high to steer things south of us. So that's the forecast questions I think for next week we'll be looking at. Then you get guys like this. Will you be talking about bad news like weaponized weather, like bomb cyclones? What are you talking about, man? Bomb cyclone is just a rapidly intensifying storm. That's a mid-latitude cyclone, much like the ones we saw today in the model. If they were to rapidly intensify, drop 24 millibars, that number that's always in the middle when it says 990, if that were to suddenly say 960 over the course of a 24-hour period, we would call that a bomb cyclone. The fact that you don't know anything does not count, doesn't give you a right to talk. Okay, there is no weaponized weather. I mean, I think we just proved that, when Marjorie Taylor Greene's going on, how come the Democrats didn't just make it rain in California? Because no one can actually fucking do that. That's the thing. You can't make rain out of nothing. You might be able to convince clouds that have a chance to rain, but even the science on that is pretty weak. We don't have ways to control the weather. That's not a thing. Atmospheric rivers, like what the fuck are you talking about? This low pressure system is butted up against this high. Therefore, all the weather is being hit down to here, but it can't go past this high. It can't move. So now it's created this long ribbon. And if you are in this section of California where you're watching this ribbon go up and down, if it stays in any one place for a length of time, like it's going to do there, more or less. So look at that one there. Oof. So, it's sliding its way on down. It's going to slide past BC this week, actually. Not a great atmospheric river example, no, because there's different levels of atmospheric rivers. There's 1 through 5, okay? And basically all the way 1 through 4, we consider beneficial or mostly beneficial. It's only until you get to the level 5, category 5 atmospheric river that we call it, which we had in 2021 in southern BC. That's a category 5 atmospheric river. It meets a criteria for severity in which we say this isn't just a normal weather thing anymore. This is a dangerous situation. Facebook knows Canadians so well. Like, how could this be? You can tell AI doesn't work. Like, obviously no one's actually watching me. Because how would this be an advertisement on my feed? Like, what person? And I love, how do you tell someone's in a cult? Because they call it a cult. there you go, everybody. You are literally in a right-wing, pro-fascist cult. That's what you're defending. Well, there really is so much to talk about, but that's enough for today, I guess, already. Anyways, keep honest, people. Just be honest. Deal in the realm of honesty and truth. That's all I ask, in the realm of fact. And if you don't have fact on your side, or if you don't know fact, be willing to listen and learn. Okay, that's the show for today, everybody. Hit like, share, subscribe. Thank you to everybody who left a super donation yesterday. Means the world to me. It's helping me believe I can do this. I can make this thing happen here. The Caribou Dude Weather Channel. Yeah, well, Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. Okay, everybody. Bye for now.